Alright, welcome to Module 2, Self-Actualization. The first thing I want to talk about is the power of principles. In the first module, we covered the fundamentals of female and male psychology. Obviously, there's more to it than what we covered, but my philosophy is that enough is enough. What you now know should be more than enough to build your own perception, and all the information that you've been given has come from my own experience. I've studied this subject for years, but most importantly, I have a lot of real-world experience. If you don't agree with what I've said, just know that having the mindset that I have works. It gets me laid, so obviously it can't be too far off. Am I right? Anyways, in this layer, or this module, which is about self-actualization, we'll discuss your own psychology and how you can use the powers within you to become anything you ever wanted. And the first subject I want to talk about is the power of principles. And what do I mean with principles, and why are they absolutely crucial to have? Principles are rules that can either be laid for yourself or for how you want other people to act around you. Without them, you're like a ship with no compass. With them, you have a very effective shield protecting you from engaging in situations you don't want to be in, as well as saving yourself from time-sucking human beings. But they not only help you in a general sense, they also help you get laid. The reason for this is that the principle you choose for yourself builds your character. And whether you want to sleep with gorgeous girls or you want to be a respected CEO, character is certainly something you should be concerned about. Soon, you'll be doing your first exercise in this program. I will first show you my principles to maybe give you a hint of what I'm talking about, and then it's time for you to write yours. Here are my principles of life, which I follow with the utmost passion and seriousness. Number 1, I don't care what anyone thinks of me, meaning I don't give a fuck. Number 2, my way of life and my own objective is always the most important. Nobody else will tell me which route to take in life. Number 3, I am always ready to walk away from anything or anyone if they are consistently breaking my principles, fucks with my habits, or waste my time. Number 4, I'm a ruthless winner. If I can see it and I want it, I'm gonna be it or I'm gonna get it. Number 5, feelings never influence my actions. This means that if I have a bad feeling about something, an inner demon, that is never an excuse of not doing it. Logic is the only thing that I follow, and I always trust in my own logic. And by the way, we're going to talk more about demons later to show you what I mean. Number 6, time is the most precious and valuable asset that I have in my life, and I never waste a second of it. Number 7, I never break my principles. Now, you should take out a piece of paper and write down yours. By hand, not with the computer. And before you begin writing them, write down the phrase, I hereby swear to live by the following principles to the best of my abilities for the rest of my life. Then, write them down. After you've written them, sign the paper with your name and today's date. This makes it official to your unconscious mind. And later, you're obviously allowed to change your principles if you want to. They should not act as obligations, but rather as guidelines to make your life easier. I have the principle that time is the most precious and valuable asset in my life. Therefore, it keeps me from wasting it. I can tell you an example of how I use this in real life. I was once in China on a business trip, and I went out to get myself some Asian pussy. And since it was my first time in China, I had never slept with a Chinese before. Actually, I was a little excited. So, I put on myself a pair of jeans and a white t-shirt, left my hotel and took a cab towards downtown. And as I jumped out the taxi, I looked around. There was an endless stream of nightclubs all laying side by each other. And since I didn't know which one would have the most action in it, I went into the one that looked like it might have some good looking gals in it. Short thing, an elevator took me upstairs to a somewhat classy, futuristic type of club, and looking around in there, I could see that I wasn't the only white guy foreigner in there. Actually, it seemed to be about 50-50. All guys were foreigners, Americans, British, Russians, Indians, and Africans, and pretty much all the girls were Chinese. I thought to myself, this is a club where the Chinese girls go to get some white dick. Not to my objection. This is like being a kid in a candy store, I thought. So, in the bar, I see two girls chatting with each other, one gorgeous and one somewhat okay looking. I go up to them and introduce myself. Then I lean into the good looking one and tell her that she's smoking hot and that I'm gonna fuck the shit out of her. She laughs a bit, and once she starts to ask me questions like, "So, where you from?" I knew I had her. So I kept going. I leaned in and told her even more absurd things. "I'm gonna rip your clothes off and bang your asshole so much it's gonna bleed. I'm gonna rip off your nipples off your titties and bang your head with my cock." Stuff like that. And the funny thing is, when you're China, you can say things like these. It doesn't matter. The girls won't object to it since there's no feminism there. Or it could also be that, they don't understand a word of what you're saying. But, anyway, after 10 minutes of talking or so, and after having gotten a lot of shit for being 10 years younger than her, Asian girls want older men is some sort of a cultural thing, I drag her home to my hotel. The cab home was like 30 minutes. And while in bed, she started to get on my nerves. She told me that, "Oh, I don't want to have sex. I just want to sleep." I told her, "Bitch, you're in my bed now. Either you suck my dick or you get the fuck out of here." "Okay, I will," she replied. So she sucked my dick for a bit, and then she rolled me for a couple of minutes. She came. Then she started to get on my nerves again. She said, "I'm tired now. Good night." Good night? She really didn't want my cock inside of her anymore, so at least she could jerk me off, I thought. But she was too bad with hand jobs, so I jerked myself off instead, came in her face and smeared my sperm all over her face and in her hair. Then she had to go to the bathroom and clean herself up for 20 minutes. When she came out of the bathroom, I kicked her out of my hotel room. And now, why did I do all this? Do you think I'm a jerk? No. Since my time is valuable, I feel like she wasted my time. I told her at the club that I was there to get laid with a Chinese. She agreed to it, and we went back to my hotel. There's no backing out now. My hotel is not free. If she wants to sleep there, she has to work for it. At least, she has to do her part. Do you think I'm just gonna go home, waste my whole night out just to go to sleep? Fuck no, man. If she wanted to sleep, she could have told me so at the club. And even though she might have said she'd rather sleep as a test, it doesn't matter. I don't have time for bullshit, and I don't have time for tests. And by the way, this mindset is what gets me to pass the test as well. If you say you're gonna do something, then do it. That's how I feel about it. And I want you to adopt this mindset as well. Start valuing your time more. Life is short and you can't waste it on suckers who don't respect you or your time. If a girl comes home with you and somehow changes your mind about sex in the last minute, you should kick her the fuck out. She's a bloody time waster and you can't afford those. Time wasters will suck the life out of you and make you miserable. Don't let that happen. Alright, so that was a quick story about that. Just go and write down your own principles now, and when you're done, continue with the next video. But don't continue until you've done this, okay? Alright, see you in a bit.